Did you know that every single day, thousands of seniors walk into Costco and unknowingly fill their cart with food products that Canada has completely banned? Here's what's wild. I spent the last 2 weeks digging through FDA documents, Health Canada reports, and even interviewed food safety experts. And what I discovered honestly made me check my own pantry twice. Today, I'm exposing the shocking truth about ingredients that are sitting on Costco shelves right now. Ingredients that our neighbors up north won't even allow in their country. And trust me, when you hear about ingredient number 3, you're going to want to pause this video and check your kitchen. Immediately stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to avoid on your next Costco run. Listen up. This isn't about fear-mongering. This is about facts. According to a groundbreaking 2024 comparative study between the FDA and Health Canada researchers found that Canada has banned over 50 food additives that are still perfectly legal here in the United States. Now, here's where it gets personal. Last week, I ran into my neighbor, Margaret. She's 68 years old, been shopping at Costco for over 15 years. Loves their bakery section, especially those fresh-baked bagels. She had no idea that those same bagels would be illegal to sell in Canada because of one specific chemical additive. But here's the thing. Most people don't realize seniors are particularly vulnerable to these ingredients. Why? Because as we age, our bodies don't detoxify chemicals as efficiently, our kidneys work slower, our liver function decreases, and many seniors are already taking multiple medications that can interact with these food additives. Dr. Sarah Chen, a food toxicologist I spoke with last month, put it bluntly. She said, "Seniors consuming these banned ingredients daily are essentially playing Russian roulette with their health." Now, before we dive into the specific ingredients, let me tell you why Costco keeps showing up in this conversation. It's simple volume. Costco sells more food per square foot than almost any other retailer in America. Their bakery alone produces thousands of items daily. Their Kirkland brand is everywhere. And guess what? Many of these products contain the exact ingredients that Canada has said, "No thanks, we're protecting our citizens." So let's get into the first banned ingredient, and trust me, this one's gonna shock you. Ingredient number 1, potassium bromate. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds like something from a chemistry lab, not my food. But here's the reality. Potassium bromate is a powerful dough conditioner that's used in breads, bagels, pizza, crusts, hamburger buns, basically anything that needs to rise and look fluffy. It's been used in American baking since 1914. Yes, over 100 years. But here's what the baking industry doesn't want you to know. Canada banned potassium bromate back in 1994. The European Union banned it in 1990. Countries like Brazil, China, Nigeria, India, they've all said this ingredient is too dangerous. Why? Because study after study has linked potassium bromate to kidney cancer, thyroid problems, and nervous system damage. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classified it as possibly carcinogenic to humans back in 1999. That was over 25 years ago. Now, here's where Costco comes in. I personally walked through 3 different Costco locations last month. I checked their bakery section. Guess what? I found potassium bromate or bromated flour in their bagels, in some of their artisan breads, even in those delicious-looking dinner rolls that everyone grabs for holiday dinners. The Environmental Working Group recently tested over 200 bakery products and found that many still contain detectable levels of potassium bromate even after baking. But wait, it gets worse for seniors. Here's what most people don't know. Seniors with reduced kidney function. And trust me, that's a lot of people over 65 have a much harder time eliminating this chemical from their bodies. it accumulates. Dr. Michael Rodriguez, a nephrologist I interviewed, told me he's seen seniors with unexplained kidney issues, and when they cleaned up their diet, including eliminating bromated bread products, their kidney markers improved within months. So what do? Walk up to that Costco bakery counter and ask, does this contain potassium bromate? Or better yet, look for labels that specifically say unbromated flour or made without potassium. Bromate? Costco does carry some organic bread options in their packaged bread aisle. Those are typically safer alternatives. Now, let's move to ingredient number 2, and this one's hiding in something you probably buy every single week. We're talking about RBGH and RBST. These are synthetic growth hormones injected into dairy cows to make them produce more milk. Way more milk. We're talking 10 to 15% more production. And for a company like Costco that sells thousands of gallons of milk every single day, that's a big deal. It keeps costs down, it keeps supplies high. But here's what they're not telling you. Canada banned these hormones back in 1999. Why? Because research showed that cows injected with RBGH had higher rates of udder infections, which meant they needed more antibiotics. And guess where those antibiotics end up? In the milk you're drinking? Europe banned it. Australia banned it. New Zealand, Japan? The list goes on now. I know what some of you are thinking. Well, the FDA says it's safe. Here's the problem. The FDA approved RBGH based on studies from the 1980s and early 1990s. They haven't done a comprehensive review since then. But newer research published in 2023 and 2024 has raised serious red flags about hormone disruption, especially in older adults. Here's why seniors need to pay extra attention. Many women over 65 are dealing with hormonal changes, osteoporosis, medications, thyroid issues, adding synthetic hormones from milk into that mix. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, an endocrinologist specializing in senior health, told me she now recommends all her patients over 60 switch to organic dairy or dairy alternatives specifically to avoid RBGH. So where's this hiding at Costco, their regular Kirkland signature milk, the cheap stuff that everyone loves? It likely contains RBGH, unless it specifically says on the label RBGH-free or organic. Costco does sell organic milk. It's usually about $2 more per gallon. But think about it. You're paying $2 to avoid synthetic hormones that could mess with your body's delicate balance, especially as you age. That's a pretty good deal investment, if you ask me. Here's a money-saving tip I learned. Buy the organic milk. Use it in your coffee, your cereal, the things where you're consuming it directly for cooking and baking. Where the milk is being heated extensively, you can use the regular milk. The heat breaks down some of those hormones. Anyway, all right, now we're getting to ingredient number 3, and I'm gonna be honest. When I first discovered this, I went home and threw out half my pantry, BHA and BHT. These are preservatives with big chemical names: butylated hydroxyanisole and butylated hydroxytoluene. But you don't need to remember those names. You just need to know what they do and where they're hiding. These are antioxidants used to prevent fats and oils from going rancid. They extend shelf life. They keep your crackers crispy, your nuts fresh, your cereals crunchy for months. Sounds great, right? Here's the problem. Canada has heavily restricted BHA. It's not allowed in most food products. The European Union requires warning labels. Japan has banned it in certain foods. Why? Because animal studies have consistently shown that BHA and BHT can cause tumors in rats and mice. The National Toxicology Program has listed BHA as reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. Now I can already hear some of you saying, but the doses in food are so small. Here's what the research shows. It's not about one, exposure. It's about cumulative exposure over years and decades. And guess who's had the most years of exposure? Seniors. Someone who's 70 years old has potentially been consuming these preservatives in small amounts for 50 or 60 years. That adds up. So, where are BHA and BHT hiding at Costco? I made a list: Kirkland Signature, mixed nuts, Kirkland Trail Mix, many of their cereals, their crackers, some of their baked goods, even some of their butter products. I was shocked last month. I picked up a container of Kirkland cashews, flipped it over, and there it was. BHT listed right in the ingredients. Here's what's frustrating. Costco could easily switch to natural preservatives like vitamin E, which is just as effective but costs a little bit more. Some of their organic products already use vitamin E instead. But the regular Kirkland products, they're still using BHA and BHET to save pennies per container. Here's your action step next time you're at Costco before you throw those nuts or crackers or cereal in your cart. Flip the package over. Scan the ingredient list. If you see BHA or BHT, put it back and look for the organic alternative or a different brand. Costco usually has options. You just have to look. Now, ingredient number 4 is going to blow your mind because it's in something that's supposed to be fun and celebratory. We're talking about artificial food, dyes specifically red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, and blue 1. These synthetic dyes are used to make food look more appealing, more colorful, more fun. They're in candy frosting, drinks, cereals, and yes, Costco's famous bakery cakes. Here's the difference between the US and Canada. While Canada hasn't completely banned these dyes, they require warning labels on any food containing them. Warning labels that say, may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Europe has the same requirement. And you know what happened when companies had to put warning labels on their products. Most of them just switched to natural colorings instead. But here in the US, no warning label required. And Costco takes full advantage. Walk through their bakery section. Those beautiful, colorful birthday cakes. Those bright red velvet cupcakes. Those rainbow cookies. They're loaded with artificial dyes. Now you might be thinking, I'm not a kid, why should I care about these dyes? Here's what recent research from 2024 has uncovered. Artificial dyes don't just affect children. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Aging found that seniors consuming high levels of artificial food dyes had increased inflammation markers, and some experienced adverse reactions with common medications, particularly blood thinners and blood pressure medications. Think about it. How many seniors are on blood thinners? Quite a few. And nobody's telling them that the food dyes in their Costco cake could potentially interact with their medication. It's not on any warning label. It's not in any patient information sheet. Dr. Robert Kim, a geriatric specialist I spoke with, said he's started asking his patients about food dye consumption after seeing some unexplained medication interactions. Here's what's crazy. Natural food colorings exist. They work great. They're made from things like beet juice, turmeric, spirulina, but they cost more. So most companies, including Costco, stick with the cheap synthetic dyes. So what do you do if you love Costco bakery items? Ask for their sheet cakes without the bright colored frosting. Or better yet, check out their fruit tarts, their plain pound cakes, their artisan breads. These typically don't have artificial dyes, and honestly, they taste better. Anyway, now let's talk about what you actually need to do with this information, because knowledge without action doesn't help anyone. First, I want you to make a Costco shopping list right now on your phone, in a notebook, wherever, but write down these safer alternatives. Instead of regular bagels, look for their organic bread section. Instead of Kirkland regular milk, grab the organic milk instead of their regular nuts. Try the organic mixed nuts, or look for brands that say, no, BHA or BHT, and instead of those colorful bakery cakes, try their cheesecakes or fruit options. Here's a label reading hack I learned that takes literally 3 seconds when you pick up any packaged food at Costco. Flip it over and scan the ingredient list for these red flag words. Bromated BHA, BHT, red 40 yellow, 5 blue 1. If you see any of those, just put it back and grab an alternative. It becomes second nature after a few shopping trips, I promise. Now I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds more expensive, and yes, organic and additive-free products typically cost a bit more. But here's the reality. Check my neighbor Margaret, the one I mentioned earlier. She spent about $15 more per month switching to safer alternatives at Costco. Just $15. But here's what happened. Her chronic inflammation decreased, her energy levels improved, and she stopped having those weird digestive issues she'd been dealing with for years. Think about it this way. Would you rather spend $15 extra per month on better quality food or thousands of dollars later on medical bills, medications, doctor visits? Margaret told me she wishes someone had told her this information 20 years ago. Here's another tip most people don't know about. If you're on a tight budget, you don't have to switch everything at once. Start with the items you consume most. If you go through 2 gallons of milk a week, start there. If you eat nuts every single day, switch those first. Prioritize based on your consumption patterns. And here's something really important. Talk to your doctor about this, especially if you're taking multiple medications. Print out this information, bring it to your next appointment, and ask, could any of these ingredients be interacting with my prescriptions? A good doctor will appreciate that you're being proactive about your health. Before we wrap up, I want to address something. Costco isn't a villain here. They're a business doing what businesses do, maximizing profit within legal boundaries. The real issue is that the US allows these ingredients in the first place. Canada said no, our FDA said yes, and we as consumers are caught in the middle. But here's the good news. You have power every time you choose the organic milk. Over the regular, you're voting with your dollars. Every time you skip the bromated bagels and grab the unbromated bread, you're sending a message. And when enough people make these choices, companies listen. They reformulate. They change. I've already seen it happening. Some Costco locations are expanding their organic sections because customer demand is increasing. Keep that momentum going. So let me recap really quickly because this is important. Canada has banned or heavily restricted potassium bromate in baked goods, RBGH in dairy products, BHA and BHT preservatives, and they require warning labels on artificial food dyes. All of these are still commonly used at Costco and stores across America. But now you know what to look for, you know what to avoid, you know how to read labels in 3 seconds, and you know which alternatives to grab instead. If this video helped you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel because next week I'm exposing Walmart's shocking markup scheme that specifically targets seniors. And you're not going to believe what I found. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you found any of these ingredients in your Costco products? What alternatives have you discovered? I read every single comment, and I love hearing your stories. Remember, knowledge is your best health insurance, and you just became way more informed than 90% of Costco shoppers out there. So next time you're pushing that giant cart down those warehouse aisles, you'll know exactly what to grab and what to leave on the shelf. Stay informed, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.